Good afternoon, everybody. This is Tony Fapiano, and I'm coming to you from the sidewalk on the Park Avenue side of the Guilford Library, the old Guilford Library, which, as you probably know if you live in the town of Guilford, has been actually under construction now for a number of months. Purpose for being here today is to get an update on the construction and try to get an idea of when everything's going to be finished and ready for the public to come back and enjoy the brand new library. In the meantime, I'm going to bring Mike Sinclair out here. Mike is a former library board member and currently is, you're on the steering committee, I believe, for the fundraising aspect of some other stuff.
Yes, that's right.
All right, I'm going to define what that other stuff is in a second.
Right.
But before we do that, now you and I think, have done 3 programs here. This will be the 3rd one.
I think it might be 3.
Yeah.
I remember the last one for sure.
Yeah, and then there was one that we did at Carter Drive at the temporary library, and
yeah.
prior to that, Shannon Gale and I had done 3 prior to the referendum. So this is about the 6th program and the 6th update, so to speak, of what's happening at the library.
Just so the listeners may recall, the last time we were here, the library had been gutted, the old library behind us, and they had poured the floors, they had the roof on, and that's when we made our tour so that folks out there could see how the library looked before there was really, I'm not even sure the windows were in at that point. It was really very rough, very rough. Of course, if you're looking at the background, folks, right now, as Tony said, it looks like Beirut.
It looks worse today than it did during our last program 3 months ago.
Of course, I've never been to Beirut, so I really can't comment on that, but yeah.
But bottom line, there's a lot of stuff that still obviously needs to be done in terms of site work and landscaping and all of that on the exterior, but that's not why we're here today. We're going to actually look at some of the finish work that's actually been completed on the interior.
Yeah, and I think we're going to see a lot of changes from what we saw the last time we were here. The walls are done, some of the wood is in place, the lighting has begun, pretty much the finish work is getting done. Now, I personally haven't been in the library since the last time we were here, so I can't vouch for that. So we'll all be seeing it for the first time, at least you and me, for the first time since we were here the last time.
Yeah, and hopefully the public will enjoy what we have to provide them with today. Let's talk a little bit about who's going to be on the program and sort of give people an overview as to what the program will actually be about.
Right. Well, obviously, Sandy Ruoff, who's the library director, will be here as the major domo to help us go through the new facility. And then we have a couple of people from the building committee, which would be Tom Gins, Noel Hanf, and Joan Shrewsbury. And then there are also a couple of folks, including myself, who are on the steering committee. And once again, that's Noel Hanf. He heads up the steering committee. I'm a member of the steering committee board.
Okay, define steering committee. What is it that you guys do?
Steering committee is a fancy name for fundraisers. We've set a goal, in addition to what the town and the state supplied for the bricks and mortar. The library steering committee, library board, committed to raising about $1.1 million for the interior of the library. All the soft things that you would sit on, much of the shelving, the fixtures, the computers, the real workings, the inside workings of the library that make it the place you want to come and be. We've been going through what we call the quiet part of the fundraising campaign for the past, I don't know, I guess it's been probably 6 to 8 months. And we're closing in on our goal. We're around, now Noel Hanf can tell you this for sure because he's more on top of the numbers, but I believe we're around $800,000 to $850,000 already raised.
So you're almost there.
Right, and so now we'll go into the public part of the campaign where we open it up to citizens of Guilford. We need your help. We really would like to be able to raise that additional money through contributions from others who are ordinary citizens. And there's a couple of things that we're going to do. One of them that I do know is we're going to be selling bricks. We're going to have a brick walk, and you can have your name or in honor of or some message on the brick, and those will be based on a certain level of contribution. And once again, Noel would know what that level is. I'm not sure what the pricing on the bricks is.
Okay. And the people on the building committee that I'm going to talk to will know where we are in terms of progress relative to expectation?
They will. Yeah, they will.
Okay. All right, well, that's good to know. So in a few minutes, we'll move our camera inside, and I'll probably talk to Sandy Ruoff next, get her to overview again, and then start talking to the people that you've mentioned.
Sounds good.
So with that, why don't you take care of this camera here? Now, and Mike Sinclair is also doing the camera work so that everything that you see, and this is not an easy job because once we get inside, he's going to be holding this camera probably on his shoulder, which makes it even that much more difficult. I'm not even sure about what kind of lighting we're going to get when we get in there, but we'll find that out. And hopefully the information that we provide to you in the town of Guilford will be helpful and give you a really good idea as to how this thing is actually moving along. So with that, we'll take a break, and I'll be back in a minute with some of our guests. You guys have to walk through here. Feel free.
Well, you want
No
to
problem.
be on camera forever.
But you might have to sing like happy birthday to your wife or something as you go through, all right? We're going to have you on tape. I think what they just got on tape, Sandy, was me being a wise guy again with one of your construction guys
Right,
here.
Tony.
But
Looks
we've
like it.
actually moved the camera inside now, and we're in what I think was the original entrance of the old library. Is that about where we are?
That's right. The when we reopen, the entrances will be basically in the same place, but the lobby is enlarged.
Okay. And as I recall, you would either come in that door, or if you parked in the rear, which most people did, they would come in this door on this side, and this was kind of you had your...
Circulation desk, which will still be here. The circulation desk will be virtually in the same place.
Okay. Why don't you bring us up to speed from really the concept? Whose idea was this anyway? And at what point did that happen? And how did you bring it along to where we are today?
Well, in 1997, the library board decided to create a strategic plan for the library. The 1977 edition had reached its 20th year. So after about a year and a half of a long-range planning committee, the concept came up that we needed to grow our programs, grow our staff, and grow the physical size of the building.
Based on what? I mean, what brought you to that conclusion?
Based on focus groups that we had with the community, standards that the state has set, and demographics.
The population growth in the town.
Right,
Yeah.
and use of the library then and now. We then went to a library expansion committee, which met for about 3 years, and then became an official library building committee appointed by the Board of Selectmen. We had a referendum in 2005 that failed, and we had a reduced referendum meaning we reduced the project by $3 million, and that referendum was put forth in September of 2006, and that was passed. And after that, the construction...
A year and a half ago, approximately. We're taping, it's June 2008 right now.
Right. The building, the design drawings and construction drawings were completed, and in April of 2007, we went out to bid, and Field Contractors was offered the lowest bid, and they have taken over the building. We moved out to a temporary building where we are now, 20 Carter Drive off Goose Lane, and the contractors are coming to an end of the project, and we hope to open by the end of this summer.
Yeah, so now you were there when somebody said in 1997, we're going to have to do something about this place. It's too small, too old, needs improvements, the heating system stinks, and did you ever think you'd see this day?
I hoped I'd see this day. There were times I thought I wouldn't. But I'm very happy, and I think the citizens will be very happy.
Now, what's your involvement in the construction process? How frequently are you here, and to what extent do you actually say to that hard hat guy over there, hey, wait a minute, I don't think that light fixture's supposed to be hung there, or something to that effect?
Well, the workers are doing a great job, and the company's doing a great job, but we meet with the project, the superintendent and the project manager on a 2-week basis, and we're in contact on a daily basis. And in the last 2 months, we come over weekly or daily as things are getting to a close.
And when you say we, who's we?
Myself and members of the building committee and members of the staff, and also town officials are on top of this. George Godovan is the clerk of the works. Paul, Assistant Fire Chief Paul, has been wonderful in helping us comply with the fire requirements, which are very important, fire and safety requirements. And Jim Portley has helped us. I mean, it's been great with the town, with support from the town departments.
Now, sometimes you look at a concept like an addition and a remodel and that sort of thing on paper, and you have a certain expectation. Then when you actually see it, is it what you thought it would be?
Yes, and more.
Is it? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, what about your staff? How do they feel? Have they been over here?
We've been trying to bring the staff over. We're trying to stay out of the workers' way, so we sneak in after 3 o'clock, and everybody who's seen it, I think, is very pleased. It's one thing to look at something in black and white on architectural drafting and architectural plans, and it's another thing to see it, to see the carpet tiles and to see the walls painted and the walls framed in and the lights hung and things shaping up.
Well, I got to tell you, Mike and I were commenting earlier that we were here 2 or 3 months ago doing an update like this, and we're standing outside on the sidewalk looking in. It actually didn't look like it was any further along, but as I look now into what I guess is part of the new addition,
The children's room you're looking into
yeah,
right now.
I mean, it really is beautiful, and your carpet is down in part of this, so people are going to be able to see what the finished floors are like. I mean, just really, really nice. So I'm glad we're getting a tour now of what's going on at this stage. What is your target date for completion?
We have several target dates. We're going to take over this building, I hope, on or about August 1st, which means then we move back in from our temporary site and accept furniture deliveries and all kinds of peripheral deliveries, computers, telephones, things like that.
Starting on August 1st?
Starting on or about August 1st, and I'm hoping to be open to the public shortly after Labor Day. That's our...
So you think it'll take a month to move everything back and get you set up?
Our
Not
goal.
for anything. We're taping today. It's June 4th. So you're talking June and July.
Right.
60 days or
Right.
less, 59 days or so.
Right.
It's a pretty ambitious goal, August 1st.
Right. Well, our contractor is working very hard, and he's promising us that, and we're believing him.
Yeah, and that really was what you expected when we talked to you
Yes.
3 or 4 months ago.
Yes.
So
Yes.
things haven't changed. You think everything is on schedule.
I think pretty much everything is, barring
right.
any unforeseen catastrophe.
All right, Sandy, great job here. I mean, I just can imagine how much gray... You don't have any gray hair. How come you don't have any gray hair? That being said...
to my colorist.
That being said, the amount of time and effort and anguish that I'm sure you've been going through for the last year or so is just unbelievable.
Well, there's a lot of time and effort put in by a lot of people, but it's very interesting, and most of the time it's fun.
All right, I'm going to take a break, and we're going to bring back some people that are on the building committee and also talk about the last part of the fundraising, which has to do with the monies necessary for the acquisition of your fixtures and computers and that sort of thing.
Right.
So
Right.
I'll be getting more information from them.
Okay, great.
But hang around, because I'll probably want to close with you, as I always do.
Okay.
Okay,
Sounds
Sandy.
good.
Mike? Okay, folks, we're walking now from the new expanded old foyer, which is now bigger and better and brighter, and into what is being referred to as the children's room. And the children's room is a huge, huge space, most of which is addition. I would say 2/3 of this space is addition, 1/3 is actually original construction. As Mike pans around the room, you'll see that there's some brick, exposed brick. Those are part of the original building. And then as you look to the far end of the building, you'll see that there's white sheetrock walls, which are now being painted yellow. And that, I believe, is part of what is all new addition. I'm going to find that out when we talk to the building committee, which they're waiting for us anxiously over there. So, Mike, let's move down to the end. And I think what we'll do is I'll let you set up your camera while I stage these people. Okay, Mike? Okay, I think I can get all 4 of you at once. Where do you want it? Okay, folks, we've moved to another corner of what I've referred to earlier as the children's room, and it really is a beautiful space. It's very bright. Today happens to be a very gray it rained most of the day. It's stopped now, but a very gray day, and yet this room is extremely bright, so I think that's all part of what the original plan was. So let me start by introducing Noel Hampf and Fred Vogt.
Correct.
And Tom Gins and Joan Shrewsbury. And you guys are all members of the building committee.
Yeah.
Is that correct? But with various individual responsibilities. So, Joan, let me start with you. I guess one of the things I want to ask you is, first of all, how long have you been on the building committee? And whatever possessed you to want to do something like this?
I got trapped into it. I don't know. We started 9 years ago when I was on the board, and I saw that
from listening to Sandy that this was going to be a wonderful thing. We drove all over the state of Connecticut, looked at other libraries that had added on, and realized that we wanted to do the same thing. We wanted to be up in the 21st century, and so here we are. It's been a long time.
And this is, we just got a rundown historically of how this thing actually started conceptually in 1997. So here we are in 2008, 11 years later, and you're almost there. So I guess my question to the rest of you would be, when you were thinking of this in terms of concept, did you ever think you would see this day? Tom?
Yeah, we did. We were a little bit defeated when it went down the first time in the referendum, but we revised things, cut the price, and here we are, and we're 2 months away probably from opening up, and the library will be completely redone.
Okay, and as I mentioned with Sandy earlier, sometimes you look at a blueprint, you look at a plan or a picture of something, and you have a certain expectation, and then when you actually see it going up, and you're an architect, so it's not, I'm sure you have clients that say, gee, that's not what I imagined.
That's correct.
And what do you, you're the clients now,
That's correct.
right, of the architectural concept. What are your thoughts about what you see here relative to what the expectations were?
Well, the expectations that we had were very positive, and we saw what we were going to get on paper, of course. But even once you enter the space, when it is done, it's different. And you feel the three dimensions of the space, and to me it's always a positive, a better space than you really would imagine by looking at the paper. Yeah.
Well, that's good to hear, because you obviously are representing a lot of people in the town of Guilford, so they're going to be happy to hear that. Your thoughts?
It'll change again because no books are here yet, and the shelving will come in, the furniture, the circulation desk, and I think it'll read much more as a library than it does right now with just the shell here.
I believe you're an attorney?
Yes.
By profession?
Yes.
Okay. As an attorney, did you kind of oversee the contractual aspects of this? Was that part of your responsibility, or did you leave that to somebody else who represented the town?
We reviewed it before the town council did, but basically it was town council's responsibility to sign off. But we did review it along with the architect. It was a pretty standard contract, but there are always, some things to tweak.
Yeah, but lawyers being lawyers, you must have had your...
Well,
I haven't met one yet that doesn't want to get his fingers into the pie,
yes and no.
I have a daughter for a lawyer, so I guess it's okay to say that. The other thing I think that's important to note is that this was a process that took a lot of effort before you started and since. And I guess all the way through that, you had some interaction with the immediate neighborhood. So what was the response of the immediate neighborhood when they heard that you wanted to increase the size, perhaps increase traffic in the neighborhood and so forth? What happened then, and how has it been during the course of construction? Joan?
Well, I think at first the first thing we did, we went to all of the immediate neighbors and told them what we wanted to do and hoped that they would be on board. And except for one or two people, they all did. They thought it was a wonderful idea. But I'd like to thank them, because the ones who live immediately, Bud Goldsmith, Barbara Johnson, Carrie Hilton, the Carolyn Marlowe, Jan Tarrant, the Toynes, they've all been very supportive. And we're very grateful, because it's been a year of upheaval with trucks all hours of the day and night, Sunday morning at 7 o'clock sometimes, going in and out, and they've been very patient. We have not heard a lot of complaints, and I'm grateful to them.
Yeah, it's not just the noise, but it's also there's dust and, tracking mud in and out of the street and that sort of thing as well.
But they've been very supportive.
Yeah. Tom, during the course of construction, you are in the construction industry. You are a commercial roofer, as I understand it. Have you been sort of overseeing this from that point of view, from that perspective?
Yeah, I'm usually here 1 or 2, 3 times a week seeing what they've done. And other than in the very beginning when there were a lot of hidden things under the ground that we didn't expect, once that part of it was solved, the building went together beautifully. The Enfield Builders, who are our contractor, have done an outstanding job on this.
Oh, so that's good to hear, because these were people that I assume you interviewed more than one construction firm, because they're doing everything, correct? It's one company is in charge of the entire construction, as well as the site work outside?
Everything. Well, it was a bidding process in the town. They were the low bidders, and they had not done a project in the town before this, and they could certainly do another one just fine, because they've been wonderful to us.
Okay, no, let's talk about the low bidder concept. Is that something that you're required to take the low bid, or what if they're not the best people?
Well, you're required unless there are real grounds for rejecting the low bid. And in this case, when we reviewed it, the architect reviewed it, the building committee did, and we felt that they could perform. And the recommendations that we got from other jobs that they had done were all very good.
Yeah, and all the way through this process, when you're talking about dollars and cents, you're representing the taxpayers of the town of Guilford. I mean, certainly you want to have the best library you can provide, but at the same time, you have to be cognizant of the fact that somebody's going to pay for this.
Oh, yes, and
Including you.
including all of us, and we have worked closely with the Board of Finance, which has been very supportive, and the Board of Selectmen, and they have to sign off. They have to sign off before the referendum on the recommendation about the amount, and so it's been a collaborative process with the other boards and agencies in the town.
Okay, now, in addition to your responsibilities here on the library board and the construction committee, the building committee, you're also a member of the Planning and Zoning Commission.
Yes.
Which I'm sure had a say in what's here right now as well.
I didn't participate. The library went, I think, twice to P&Z about various aspects of the expansion. I didn't participate in that because
Why not?
of my role. Well, because of my role in the library, I'd be on both sides of it, have a conflict. So, but yes, the project did go twice in front of the library.
But I would think that as
P&Z.
Yeah, but I would think as a member of Planning and Zoning, other members of the commission sought your advice, maybe not officially, or?
Well, not really. No, if I don't participate in some matter, it's really up to the others. And Fred and others on behalf of the library made the presentation, and if there was any information needed by the commissioners, they got it directly from others representing the library.
So what were the considerations when you went to Planning and Zoning?
Well, that's another process that started before we actually went to them for their approval. When we were in the real preliminary stages and design stage, we met with George Kroll, our town planner, and Jim Portley, our engineer, and George Cadovan, who is our building inspector, and by the way, has been acting as the clerk of the works on this project and doing a wonderful job.
Actually, we met George in a previous video that we did here.
Right, yeah. And, but at any rate, we reviewed, we told them what we wanted to do. We were familiar with some of the aspects of the planning and zoning regulations that we would have to meet. And so we sort of had everything laid out and planned, if you will, and so there would not be any surprises when we went forth. We also, early on, got a complete survey of the property, so we knew where the boundaries were. And then, of course, part of the design process by the architect and the civil engineer is coming up with the correct square footage. I mean, there are limits as to just how much you can add to the land, and then also
Limits being imposed by the size of the lot relative to zoning
right,
criteria.
right, setbacks on all sides. And then, of course, there's also the other potential limitation of septic systems. And
Never mind potential, that's a big one, right?
yeah, well, sometimes there's enough
killer.
room. Yeah, that's true. It can often be, probably more so than the setbacks. Absolutely, Tony. Yeah. So, the townspeople were really, again, just wonderful to work with because they all wanted to see this happen. And so the whole process right from the beginning was, if you will, pleasant, and very positive.
Now, you said that when you put the concept in front of them, you kind of met you were able to meet all of the existing regulations. Were there was no need for any variances of any kind? You didn't exceed anything?
We did not, right? I don't think
I
we...
think that's correct.
Yeah, I think we had it all laid out so that we didn't need to get any variances now, right?
That's interesting. Okay, so you were able to put this whole thing together, and here we are. I guess one of the other things, now you were able to raise the money necessary through the referendum and through money that was granted from the state of Connecticut for the bricks and mortar here, correct?
Yes. Yeah, the state approved a grant of $500,000, and the voters approved $6.3 million in bonding through the town.
Okay, for a total of 6.8? Is that what that adds up to?
Yeah.
Okay, so now you're at 6.8. That takes care of the construction. Were there any cost overruns? In other words, you put that much money on the table, you had a design in mind, you signed a contract. Were the contractors able to deliver on that? Or is it like every homeowner who builds a house today, he always gets hit with extras at the closing?
Well, we had a budget to begin with, and we went forth with our budget, and the low bid was less than that budget that we had established. And we put down various line items that we knew were over and above the real basic construction. And that is, in the beginning, we knew that we would have to deal with some asbestos removal, hazardous waste. We had a line item for that. We had a...
That's over and above the construction. You had to do that anyway, whether you built a new building or not.
Right. And then, of course, we had a contingency because, especially with an addition and the renovation that we did on the existing building, there's always going to be, during the construction process, unknowns. And we were anticipating having extras, and we have. But what we need to do, and what we have done, is to keep those extras in check and the costs for those under the budget. So we're still very comfortable, if you will. We still have contingency money, and we are not anticipating going over that at all. So far, so good. I hope by saying that, some surprise.
Now, in your business, you're a commercial contractor, you do commercial roofing. This is actually unusual, isn't it? Don't people run out of money before buildings are finished?
Well, mostly on a public project, there is a contingency in the budget before you start. And that's what, if there's a change order coming for something in the ground that we didn't know about before construction started, that's what that contingency is for. And we've used some of that money, but there's still a great deal of it left.
Okay, Tom, we're taping on June 4th. Completion target date is August 1st. That's what Sandy just mentioned to me. You're less than 2 months away. Are we going to make that?
I think we'll make it. Our hope is that we'll be moved back in here in full operation when school's open on Labor Day.
Really? Good for you. All right. The other part of what you guys have to do has to do with, I think is referred to as the steering committee. And who's on the steering committee here?
We all are. Noel is the head of it.
You're the head of it.
The steering committee is the purpose of it is to raise funds for the furniture, fixture, and equipment that'll go in here. In other words, the numbers we mentioned before are to cover the bricks and mortar, the building, the concrete, and whatnot. And we have a goal of raising $1.1 million for the furniture, fixtures, and equipment. And we've had a lot of support from the community in that effort. Gifts ranging from $5 at the low end on up to and including $100,000 from a single person. And
Do you want to identify that person? Or?
no.
That's a huge donation.
Credit, at an appropriate time, we will credit all the donors. But at the present time, we have a total of pledges and the cash actually received just over $800,000.
So you're almost there.
Yes, but getting over
Still a long way.
it still feels like we have a way to go. We're going to need, further support in gifts of all sizes. And we hope the community will respond when we contact people. So far they have very nicely, and it's been it's been a very pleasant process to talk to people about the potential for this.
Now, are there plans in place for how you actually are going to raise the money, the additional 300,000? You have a gap of about 300,000 right now.
Yes.
Are there plans in place?
Well, yes, there are. We're continuing to develop what we hope will be significant gifts, and we're making a transition into a broader public appeal. One of the projects that I don't know whether Sandy mentioned, but there will be in the courtyard, there will be bricks with names on them for people who make contributions, and so that will be, as we go into the more public phase of the fundraising, that will be part of that
Now,
process.
how will you market this? How will people know what the various ways they can donate are?
well,
And how much does a brick cost?
We're planning brick costs to $150 or $300. There are two sizes of bricks, and there will be.
Fapiano's a long name. Do I need?
We'll encourage you. We'll encourage you to have two big bricks, and we'll stretch it out in a large type.
That's a great thing, though, because that's there for
Yeah.
as long as the roof, anyway.
And we will also be having a public mailing and some public events that people can participate in, and we'll try and get the word out when we get a little closer to the opening.
You know, that actually may be maybe the hardest thing you're going to do is reach out to the community and put their hand in their wallet and say, give me some money. Because as nicely as you say that, that's what you're saying.
But I think we found in other libraries that everybody really wanted to be part of it. So I think the bricks will take care of that. I mean, everybody, maybe they can't give 1,000, but maybe they give 100 for a brick. So we wanted to offer that opportunity. I want to say one other thing about the Copper Beech that used to be here and died just before we were moving. Unfortunately, everybody loved that Copper Beech that was at the front door. Well, that was cut down, and a local craftsman woodworker, John Russell, has offered to make a bench out of a piece of that Copper Beech. So that's going to be very special. It'll be upstairs in the lobby, upstairs.
Yeah, that's a great thing. Yeah. Now, and what caused that to happen? Just as a result of construction that it.
Yeah. Oh no, not as a result of construction. The tree was dying. We had Leslie come, and she said this is not going to last much longer, so we had to cut it down. It was a safety issue, right? It was falling.
You've expanded the space here by X number of thousands of square feet. Anybody have a number on that?
14,000.
14,000, which, to my mind, means that there's going to be more people. You're going to be able to accommodate more people. Parking has always been an issue downtown. Where are you going to put these people?
The parking is still going to be an issue, but there'll be parking.
That's my Mike Wallace question.
There'll be parking on we'll have parking on the street. We have, the parking lot is actually bigger. It sounds crazy because we've added to the building, but there's more spaces in the new
there?
parking lot than there was in the old lot, only because of the way it's laid out now.
Okay, what's the finish of the parking lot going to be? You're going to pave it?
That will be paved asphalt, yeah. The other thing is that we've worked out an agreement with the church next door, and we'll be allowed to use their parking spots back here. I think we're getting 6 or 7 spaces that we can use during the day.
Yeah, but just watch when they pass the plate, and you guys.
And then I think everyone knows by now that the daycare, they have their own plans now to move down.
I don't know. I was going to ask you about that. What are their plans?
Town Center South, that area that's just south of the Whitfield House. And
Yet that won't be ready for them by August 1st. So what are they going to do in the interim?
so, they'll be here. And things will carry on just as they were before. And we're not really anticipating that there are going to be problems that are any worse, so to speak. One thing that has happened is that we took down the building behind the Lathrop House, and that constituted, I think, maybe up to 10 employees who are elsewhere now. So those are 10 spaces we've gained. And when the daycare leaves, we'll be able to capture, I think, an additional 14, 16 spaces. So It's working, you know, I think the,
You have to remember that at a library, people don't come and stay all day. They come and leave and come and leave. So where we used to have employees parking in the parking spaces, they won't be parking there anymore. And there'll be enough spaces because you come and leave. You don't stay for hours.
Okay, now we're in, again, what's referred to as the children's room. Are there other spaces that are at this level of almost completion? You got a rug going down here, so you're almost done in this room. Are there other parts of the library that are more or less, and can we see them?
absolutely, yeah.
Mike, you want to take a walk around the building, take another look at another aspect of this?
Can I just say first,
Sure, Joan.
there will be a book drop also, a drive-up book drop. So you won't have to park and come in to return your books.
Okay, now that's a special use in the town of Guilford, isn't it? A drive-through?
Well, we do have a new one, although
It's my chance. I'm in the real estate business, so it's my chance to.
we've always had a book drop, but this will be a drive up, which
Think
we
of
did not have on this site before.
It's really, no, think of it as a post office, it's a letter drop is what it is, you know, so.
All right, you know what? Let's take a break. Mike, we're going to set up in another part of the building, and we'll get a description of what that is.
Isn't this wonderful? Yeah. You realize the wood is copying the wood we already have.
Okay, folks, we've actually moved to the second floor, and Mike Sinclair did a pan of this very, very large space here, which has kind of areas separated by columns and that kind of thing. What is this upstairs? Where are we now?
Well, this is a rare opportunity for the public to see this room without book stacks. This is the second floor of the new addition. The wall behind me is the west wall, closest to the green, and this whole area will be housing our adult book collection, both fiction and nonfiction, large print and mystery. So it's called the Grand Stack area because we are finally able to have all our books together in one place, hopefully making them easier for the public to find.
As compared to what was it before?
Well, in the other library, it was split up on the east side and the west side, and it was fine. But it's in an ideal environment, you'd like everything together, and we're going to be able to do that here.
Okay. Now, Sandy, as a professional librarian, which is what you are, I know you have a lot of training prior to coming on board here, and probably while you are in the course of your career in the town of Guilford, I'm sure you've taken courses on different things that libraries need and don't have and should have and that sort of thing, wish list. Is any of that worked its way into this final design and final construction?
I hope so. We spend a lot of time visiting other libraries and meeting with people who could sort of forecast the future for us and analyzing the service that we give now and again, speaking to the public who are our clients and trying to answer their needs for now and in the future. And I think this building is going to do it for a long time.
Yeah, now when you talk about answering needs of the future, you're talking You have to look, what, 20 years out, that sort of thing?
Right. And I mean, I'm sure this building is not going to be renovated in the next 20 years, if ever. So it's really looking further out than 20 years, but at
but
the
the-
minimum of 20 years.
But the last design review took place at the 20th anniversary, I think you said.
Right.
77 was the last construction, and 97 is when you actually reviewed what
Correct.
was there and what the needs might be,
Correct.
based on changes in society, I assume.
Right. and
For example,
also
computers didn't exist that much or that
Right.
frequently in 1977.
changes in how we deliver service, yes. And also at that time, when the library renovation opened in 1977, the population was 16,000, and now we're around 23,000. So we're also tweaking this building, so to speak, to accommodate the needs of 23,000 people.
Right. I remember the last tour you gave us over in that corner that we just walked through. You referred to that, I think, as the media area. Is that going to be the media room? Or was that somewhere else? It was hard to say because everything was wide open when we came the last time. You were going to have
on the
computers
other-
set up, that sort of
In the
thing?
middle of this second floor, we're going to have a computer area near the reference desk area, which we have now in the temporary library and what we had in the library that was here before we closed. And then in the far end of the second floor, on the northeast side, we will have all our DVDs and all our audiovisual compact discs and videos and future offerings, playaways and, things that people, how people listen to books and see movies now in formats that even have yet to be developed.
Yeah, that's true. So how do you even anticipate that
Right,
except have
right,
the space ready
right.
for it, in case it happens?
And we've built all those, the furniture that's going to house the audiovisual equipment is on wheels, so it makes that east side space very usable for the future if we wish to do something else with it as the AV equipment gets smaller and smaller.
Okay. Again, a critical part of where you are right now, the building is coming along, it's being completed, the money's already there to do all of that. The critical part is to fill the void of that extra 300,000 that you need for
Right.
fixtures and equipment.
Right.
Specifically by equipment, what are you talking about? You getting new computers, new software, new
Yes, and
new
we're-
hardware?
Yes, but we're also getting a lot of things like better listening devices in the meeting room for people with hearing impairments.
What?
We're also getting surround sound for everyone with however their hearing is. We're getting better projection equipment, better screens. We're providing for security cameras if we ever wish to use them. We have a lot of extra wiring in the building for the future. Again, things that we don't know will exist, but we know we need wiring for. We don't have fiber optics yet, but we have the building fiber optic ready.
Is this also going to be wireless? Because that's a
Yes,
thing that...
we had a wireless environment before, but it's going to continue to be wireless, and I hope with even faster wireless service.
Okay, what else do you want to add?
I just want to say again, thanks for the support of everyone, people who have given so far to the capital campaign. If you're considering giving, please call me at the library, 453-8282. I'd be glad to discuss the opportunities, and just watch our website. We keep putting photos of the construction up on there, and now we'll have this video for everyone to see. So
Okay, and at some-
thank you.
Oh, yeah. Well, actually, Mike and I were talking. We think this is the sixth one that we've done for the library.
could be.
With the pre-referendum, we
right.
did three, I
It's
believe,
very
and then three
possible.
since then. But,
There was only one that was 100 degrees, though, that time in the old library.
yeah, right. But the bottom line is that you do have a substantial amount of money yet to be raised at a time when the economy isn't at its peak.
Right.
And, gas and oil are $4 a gallon and so forth. So people are dealing with all of those issues. It's hard to dig, but yet it's one of those things that you want to dig for because now is the time, and once it's done, it's done.
Well, I think Joan Shrewsbury on the Library Building Committee said it very nicely before. People have the opportunity to give at every level, and we have had donations from $5 to $100,000, and we gratefully accept them all. So.
Okay, well, I definitely want a brick, so let me know
Okay.
when that's available. And
I
I
will.
assume you're going to have some sort of marketing
Yes,
plan in place through
we
the
will.
newspapers and that kind of thing.
And on our website as well,
Yeah.
Guilford Free Library.
All right, Sandy, again,
Thank you.
thanks a
Thank you,
lot.
Tony.
Thanks for
Thank
all
you
your
very
help
much.
and everything in putting this together.
Thank you.
And with that, we want to thank Mike Sinclair, because not only is he a former member of your board,
Right.
but he's also a member of the steering
fundraising committee, right?
Yeah,
the
steering committee, and a fellow Rotarian.
Right.
I want to thank Mike for doing the camera here today. And with that, I'll just say this is Tony Fapiano. Thank you for watching.